In the years prior to World War II, the leaders of the most powerful countries in Europe watched the Nazi German power grow. The punishing conditions of the Treaty of Versailles, which ended World War I, placed the blame for the war squarely on the shoulders of the Germans. The former Allied countries were unwilling to enforce the terms of the treaty, believing they had been too harsh. However, the Allies became so intent on keeping the peace that they failed to understand the imminence of the German threat. Neville Chamberlain was the Prime Minister of Great Britain from 1937 to 1940. He became known for his policy of appeasement of Nazi Germany, which took shape in a series of political actions designed to prevent a Second World War. Chamberlain failed to take a stand against the Nazis through his inability to lay down absolute terms of agreement, his belief and trust in Adolf Hitler, and his surrender of non-British land to Nazi forces. By the end of 1938, Adolf Hitler's hunger for land had begun to grow. He set his eyes on the small Slavic country of Czechoslovakia. In the northwestern region of the country, a mountainous natural barrier known as the Sudetenland carried much of the Czechs' military defenses. In order to take the entirety of Czechoslovakia, Hitler schemed to eliminate the Sudeten threat through political action. Neville Chamberlain decided to try and mediate the Czech-German conflict. Hitler told Chamberlain that the 3 million ethnic German people of the Sudetenland wanted to be a part of the Greater German Reich, and asked if he would agree to their secession. Chamberlain was so intent on preserving European peace that he never once refused Hitler. In hopes of preventing conflict, Chamberlain returned home and convinced his own government as well as the French to force the Czechs to agree to all of Hitler's demands. Chamberlain and the British government issued a final decision to Czechoslovakia with the requirements as follows. The Sudetenland must be surrendered to Germany with no referendum by the Czech people, and Czechoslovakia may not ask for assistance from other allies. Chamberlain purposely excluded Jan Masaryk, the Czech ambassador to London, from any conferences and meetings concerning the Czech lands that took place. By ignoring the Czech ambassador and cutting off Czechoslovakia's alliances, Chamberlain was forcing the Czechs to agree to his terms and undermining the existence of a less powerful nation. Throughout the meetings between the Führer and the Prime Minister, Chamberlain placed a good deal of trust in Hitler's word. Hitler repeatedly swore not to extend his land acquisition beyond the Sudetenland.
It is the last territorial claim I have to make in Europe. I have assured Mr. Chamberlain, and I repeat it here, that when this problem is solved, there is for Germany no further territorial problem in Europe. We want no Czechs.
Chamberlain was certain Hitler would keep his promises, remarking, "In spite of the hardness and ruthlessness I thought I saw in his face, I got the impression that here was a man who could be relied upon when he had given his word." In the time between meetings, Hitler broke Chamberlain's trust and secretly prepared his military for the invasion of Czechoslovakia. Chamberlain, Hitler, Prime Minister Édouard Daladier of France, and Italian dictator Benito Mussolini came together for a final agreement at Munich on September 30th, 1938. Chamberlain agreed to all of the fascist demands. These included the fact that any Czechs leaving the Sudetenland were not permitted to take any of their belongings, such as livestock or household commodities. The Czechs were given 1 week to evacuate the Sudetenland. Chamberlain decided to agree to even more German demands at the expense of a land he did not control. In the hours following the Munich Agreement, Chamberlain issued a speech to the British public declaring that Britain and Germany would never go to war because of a peace agreement signed between himself and Hitler.
This morning, I had another talk with the German Chancellor, Herr Hitler. And here is the paper which bears his name upon it as well as mine. We regard the agreement signed last night and the Anglo-German naval agreement as symbolic of the desire of our two peoples never to go to war with one another again.
Chamberlain told his countrymen that there was nothing more to come from Germany. However, the Germans took the rest of Czechoslovakia 5 months later on March 14, 1939. Following the Nazi takeover of Czechoslovakia, Chamberlain was heavily criticized for his decision to appease Hitler. Appeasement became a term more associated with weakness than with negotiation. From a modern view, it is now obvious that it is not possible to negotiate with a leader that does not honor promises. Chamberlain's failure to take a stand against Hitler destroyed millions of lives and accelerated the Nazi annexation of mainland Europe.